Troy from Mindshift Education Coaching, and this is something that we'd like to do on a regular basis when we release a blog on our website, which is mindshifteducationcoaching.com. So the important thing about when we release these blogs is that we really want to add value and provide people who are reading or watching, and eventually when we get a podcast up and running, who are listening, with something that practical that they can use, and things that are really going to help the learning environment that they can create at home with their children. And then we definitely want to encourage people to reach out to us if they have any questions. And you can definitely do that on all of our social media pages and on mindshifteducationcoaching.com as well. The post that we have most recently released on the website is about developing a mindset in children and young people as well that allows them to achieve success with assessments. It's particularly pertinent at the moment because of the upcoming NAPLAN tests here in Australia. But when you really break it down, and as I was writing the post, I started to think about how it's not just for NAPLAN. So this strong positive mindset towards assessment is really crucial for kids at all ages. And you think throughout primary school, throughout high school, if your children go to university or if they go to TAFE, but even to the point where they go for a driving test, for example, to get their license. Now, the post centers around NAPLAN, and we give some background about NAPLAN, and really talk about a lot of the negative press about NAPLAN, and you can just do a quick Google search now and you'll see that a lot of the press is negative about NAPLAN. Now, that climate is starting to change, especially in education circles, but there's still a lot of angst from parents and children and stakeholders in the education community about NAPLAN. But NAPLAN is a small part of the assessment suite, I guess you'd call it, that teachers and educators use to inform their teaching. So the first thing is that take NAPLAN as an opportunity for your children to show what they know. And if they are successful, that's great. If they are not, that's not a completely negative thing, because you can use that data that is gained from NAPLAN, speak with your child's teachers and people at their school to work out a best way to respond. So without going into the nuts and bolts of what NAPLAN actually is, aside from saying that it's the National Literacy and Numeracy Program, so it's a test that measures students against national standards in years 3, 5, 7 and 9, and they engage in 5 tests to assess their capability in literacy and numeracy. But I really wanted to focus on what the wider community could do to develop learners who have a strong mindset towards assessment, because at the moment there is, and it's just ingrained in us through human nature, there is this complete dislike towards assessment because we see it as something that is a taxing thing that we just don't enjoy. All right, we get nervous about it. Even as adults, we get nervous about it. Think back to when you had your driving test, you were nervous about it. Also think back to how much those nerves and angst and pressure affected your performance. And it's something that is real, and it happens, from your first test that you'll take in your life until, you finish university or TAFE or whatever it is, or however many tests that you need to do. So we recommend 3 things that you can work with your child to develop a mindset. So this isn't about content, because content should be covered for the most part throughout the classroom program. And there is, if your child struggles with a particular area, you need to get help for that as soon as possible. If that doesn't happen through the school, you need to reach out to qualified tutors. And that's what we do as education coaches. We are university qualified teachers who also offer private online and in-person tutoring. So if your child is behind and they are struggling, or if they need help with a certain area or they need extension, you need to reach out and get help as soon as possible because testing time is too late. Okay, so that's the content stuff covered. As far as the 3 strategies that we suggest, it's about building that mindset. Okay, so the first thing that you do is embrace assessment as a opportunity for your child to show what they know, and really value assessment for what it should be, and that's to measure achievement and success, but also to measure growth. All right, so with your child, don't, as much as possible, do not position assessment as something that is highly stressful and that is something that they should be nervous about. If they come home to you and say they've got an assignment due, a test that's coming up, if they're preparing for NAPLAN, what you need to do, instead of reiterating, I guess, how they're feeling about it, is you need to flip it and you need to be talking to them about what a great opportunity they have to show what they know, but also the great opportunity that that test assignment provides to show how they can get better. Okay, because we always want our learners and our children to be growing and getting better. The second thing that you really need to do is embrace assessment, but don't put more pressure on the assessment part itself. Okay, so we're looking at assessment in like a macro level here. So every assessment that they're going to take throughout their life. We're not speaking as a one-off assessment. What we want to do is develop that strong positive mindset so that there's no pressure associated with assessment, right? That it's seen as like an exciting thing to anticipate for children because you've embraced it in step 1 and you've shown them that it's something that they should value for what it's worth. Now, one way to ensure that there's no pressure is to make sure that your child is engaging every day in their classroom. All right, and you will have spoken to the teachers. It's about what can the teacher do, what can you do, what can your child do to ensure that they're engaged in that classroom. Again, if they're not, it's up to you as the parent to seek that help for your child. Right? It's really important that you get on top of any difficulties they have straight away. And that way, there's less pressure when it comes to assessment time. So what you need to do is you need to work on the front end to de-stress and de-pressure that situation in terms of content. So that's what you really need to do. Now, the last thing that we would suggest is you've gone through and you've embraced assessment. You've spoken with them about the assessment. When you're taking pressure off assessment as well, just going back, something that's really important to do is prepare them for assessment in terms of talk to them about what they should expect, what questions might be, what they do if they get stuck. Is there anything that they're particularly worried about before the assessment's due, so you can try and help them through that process. Okay, being able to talk about it's like everything. Being able to talk about it makes a big difference. So the last thing you've done, you've prepared them, they've sat the test, then you need to debrief. So remember, what we're trying to do here is create a mindset where assessment is positive, okay, and that they have this strong self-belief in themselves as being capable to sit these assessments. So to debrief would be to talk about them. How did they go? How did they think they go? How was that anxiety that they were feeling before? And was it something that was really necessary because they've got through it now? All right, so you're embracing, you're preparing, and you're debriefing. They're the 3 things that you need to do. If you can do that, okay, you can start to change your child's mindset around assessment. All right, we need to change that mindset of all of our children away from assessment as negative and assessment is something that they're afraid of. And we need to shift it to being assessment is something as an opportunity that we can show what we know, how successful we've been, and what we can do from there. All right, now assessments provide data and information to teachers and parents and students, and it can really tell you how much a child has engaged in a unit as well. Now that's in terms of growth and everything like that. But what you really need to do as a parent, again, what we need to do as a culture and society is shift how we position assessment, because that way, and I've said it in the blog post, if we can do that, I guarantee, or if you do that with your child, if you develop a strong disposition and a positive mindset towards assessment, I guarantee that your child will feel more comfortable in assessments, they'll be more prepared for assessments, and they'll achieve greater success in these assessments. That goes from their earliest assessments, okay, in prep when they don't even really know what assessment is, all the way through to their very last assessment. And this is going to help, as I said, with driving tests and anxiety that they face about a driving test. If you've prepared, all right, if you embrace assessment, you've prepared for the test, and then you talk about it afterwards, assessment's no longer this huge thing. It's something that helps you learn and grow. Okay, so jump onto the website. Definitely leave any comments on any of our socials. It's Mindshift EC on all of the platforms, or Mindshift Education Coaching. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on all the socials. Head over to the website. Share the message with friends and family, because what we want to do here is help children in general. We want to help parents and we want to help children. Okay, so that is our mission here at Mindshift Education Coaching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you take something from it. And as I said, visit us on all the socials. Head over to our website, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.